Hey guys, thanks so much for coming to presentation training today. What we're going to talk about today is just mostly how we can be the best presenters out there. As you guys got from the email before we came today, I kind of asked you to start thinking about what are some of your strengths and some of your weaknesses. So we're first going to start off with a quick little video of just some things that can go wrong in a presentation.
For the figure that you would want to see this.
Well done, Brew. Rather impressive.
Now, the rest of the plan is simple. I fly to the moon. I shrink the moon. I grab the moon. I sit on the toilet.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Where were we? You were sitting on the toilet.
No. No, I'm sorry. It was a little attempt ago. I know how much you like to laugh.
So as you can see when you're doing presentations, sometimes you got to kind of go with the flow. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. But I think that the most important thing is that if we can be just as prepared as we can when we're giving our presentations. And we present to close to 14,000 students every year in those high school seniors only, also in the state of Utah. One thing that's really important to think about is, if we're not doing well on our post-high school tour and capturing all those seniors, the university really has an opportunity to lose a lot of money. If you look at just tuition dollars that the university could lose per student, it's about $27,000, and that's not including, housing or, anything with the bookstore, food, anything like that. That's just tuition dollars that could be lost just by us not capturing those students. So kind of to go along with the capture theme, something to kind of think about is that when we're doing the post-high school tour, we need to make sure that we're casting a really wide net. What I want to focus on today is capturing those undecided students, because that's really where you have a really good opportunity. And if you kind of follow along with the chart, if you have those undecided students, we can get them more interested, and if we get them more interested, they're more likely to come to an on-campus event. So here's me and Corey kind of came up with a little concept about the 4 P's of presentation. Remember that you practice, you plan, you prepare, and you present. So those are some things that I kind of want you guys to start focusing on as we're kind of moving into this next season of presentation. So let's start with practice. That I think a lot of people in our office need help on is a little bit better work on the introduction to USU, and a little bit better about making sure that our ambassadors are trained so that they know the right thing to say. How have you guys seen in your presentations, how have you seen them, get better? How has it benefited you, I guess is the best way to say it, by practicing the presentation?
We should do a mind map, because sometimes I get so excited about talking to Utah State, and sharing so many experiences. I kind of get scatterbrained because I want to share so much stuff that I love about it, but I think mind mapping it out, organizing my thoughts, and then it's kind of like a plan and prepare exactly what you're going to say. That helps me out a ton to kind of get a whole better grasp on the entire thing.
Exactly. It's like when we were talking about with the brain map too. When you brain map, it helps with your transitions, which is kind of something that Wilkie mentioned that he needs some help with, is working on those transitions. And if you have a really good brain map, you know that you're able to kind of map things out a little bit better and that your transitions flow better. So that's your first P you got to remember, is practice.
The second P is plan. Now, a couple of things we as an office and even as the Utah Council, they've given us tools that we can use to help prepare ourselves. One, of course, we use in our office daily, right? The Google Calendar. And we try to make sure that we put all of our visits on there in hopes that we know where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there. Another one with the Utah Council website, they not only will list those same dates and everything with the high school tour presentation, but they do also try to put in driving directions and things like that. 2 other resources, use each other, and then rely on yourself too, okay? So be proactive. If you're in an area in central Utah, you've never been to that school before, you get there the night before, have nothing to do at your hotel, go drive to the high school. Make sure you know how to get there first thing in the morning. But inevitably, problems are going to occur. Okay, so in the video clip we watched through, you could tell that he had prepared a presentation, right? But things came up. Okay, his little girls threw that extra slide in his presentation. They came in and interrupted things that he was not necessarily prepared for. And when that happens, our blood starts to boil a little bit, right? We tend to get a little bit nervous, and we start to stutter a little bit, and then all of a sudden our audience can tell that we don't have control over the presentation, okay? And so the idea behind this prepare aspect is be prepared to expect the unexpected. Know that you're going to come across those things. Know how you're going to react to them before they come to you, okay? A couple of things that we listed up here are common things that will happen during the high school tour. Okay, one is traffic, the space and your environment. Okay, I remember, I think it was either the first or second year on the high school tour, going and giving a presentation at Spanish Fork High School. Got there early, was all ready to go get set up. I checked in, and they escorted me to where I was giving a presentation, which was in the gymnasium with 4 other schools. Okay. So I got there, the atmosphere was terrible to present in general, but then it was virtually impossible for me to actually use our presentation that had a lot of audio. I just had to scrap it and just do it, with me in front of the group, okay, which was difficult to do, and also keep the audience's attention while 4 other groups were talking too, okay. AV difficulties, you never know when you're going to run into those, okay? Whether you forget a chord, Ness is going, yes. You have an experience in that?
Yeah, I could not get my projector to work. And as you guys know, we rely on our projectors to show videos and things like that. And I had to do the whole thing by memory, no cues, anything like that, and just use my view book. And it was nice that I had done it so many times that I could. But I was just like, you get frazzled at the beginning, even like you said, you prepare, but something happens. So, but I made it through, and it was successful. So I hope.
Good. Now those things are going to happen, and so we need to know how we're going to react to those. Okay. Interruptions. Sometimes you'll have students who might decide they want to act out. I personally have not had a student act out in my class, but I remember being in the middle of a presentation when the teacher, whose classroom I was using, walked in, and I never got to talk to them before the presentation started because they weren't around. I was just given the room as an assignment. They had no idea I was going to be in there, and they weren't exactly happy that I was in there. Okay, so there's going to be interruptions of all sorts. Okay, be aware of time too. Kate mentioned this a little bit, but we'll give a presentation of about 30 minutes, but sometimes at the last minute we're thrown 25 extra minutes, or we're cut in half our time that we could present. So you got to be aware of that. And lastly, our ambassadors. I think we could rely on them quite a bit, but occasionally when they're traveling separate from us, sometimes they don't make it there on time, or they have troubles in their travels. They also might be a little nervous with their side of the presentation and might not cover everything that they're supposed to. Okay, so be prepared for those unexpected things. One thing that we did want to do, we put some situations in this hat, and we want to go through as an activity, have everybody pull one out. We're going to read it, and then we're going to just ask you, how would you react? Okay, and then talk about it as a group. Carrie, why don't you read yours?
Yeah, you are at Payson High School and have already completed one of the 3 presentations for the morning. Between presentations, a student trips on a cord which knocks off the DVD player and breaks it. The DVD player is not working, and you start your presentation in 3 minutes. What do you do? I actually ran into this a lot, just traveling out of state especially. Not that it broke, but just that I didn't have the equipment to go along with my presentation. And so, honestly, a lot of times I relied on an iPad, which I love our new app that we have, which made it a lot easier. But I mean, even if I didn't have that, it was strictly on the view book. And I had to really rely on my excitement about Utah State, a lot of passion to really draw them into what I was saying, because they were about to listen to me for about 30 minutes, and high school students get bored easy. So it's a lot of sharing cool stories, but then knowing when to tie it back into academics and keeping it relevant and important to the topic.
Perfect. Thank you. The last P of the 4 Ps is the actual presentation. There are a few key pointers that we wanted to point out, things to always keep in mind as you're presenting. Okay, the first one is to really be aware of your voice. Enunciate. Okay, make sure that you're speaking clearly and that you're not mumbling your words together. First of all, be yourself. Okay, make the presentation your own, and I think this is one thing that Wilkie, I feel like, really is very strong at. Okay? I think he's really taken our presentation and added in his own feel to it, okay? And it's a very different feel than a lot of other people's presentations, even though you're covering the same material. But a big part of how you can do that is showing your excitement for Utah State and sharing personal stories. Carrie, you want to read this for us? You know, there's actually, physiologically in our mind, our brain actually stores information a lot better through storytelling as opposed to just reading facts and figures. And I think it's really important for us to realize. So these funny stories that we share, stories the ambassador shares, those are going to be the things that the students are going to remember. So just, I guess, to recap a little bit, the 4 Ps here, the practice, plan, prepare, and present. I know that if you go through and use all of these as you're preparing your presentation and actually giving your presentation, that you'll be a lot more successful, that your presentation will have more power because you'll be in control of it, okay? You'll be able to expect those unexpected things and still be able to handle your audience and leave an impression on them for Utah State. So to help you remember those, we have given you, or are giving you, these little reminders of the 4 Ps that you can put on your audio-video bag, okay? So hopefully it's something that you'll see as you go out every day, and you'll be able to be reminded of those regularly, okay? So that's one thing that we're going to try to do to make sure that you're implementing these 4 Ps, is to help you remember that every day. But on top of that, we're also going to do a little bit of follow-up with you, okay? So this training that we're talking about and these skills we're learning about today doesn't end today, okay? It's going to continue. One thing that we're going to start right off is in 2 weeks from today, so February 28th, we're going to have you guys actually present in front of one another, okay? We want you guys to not only have that practice time, but also receive feedback from your colleagues of things that you're doing and other things that you could do to do better, okay? The other thing that we're going to do is Kate and I are going to randomly just show up at the presentations that you're scheduled to do to help you through and ask you and see how you're implementing the 4 Ps as you go through it. Are there any questions at all? These things will help you in your presentations. I wish you the best of luck as you go forward, and we'll know that Kate and I are committed to help you guys implement these 4 Ps into your training.